What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today we are reading from r/Am I the Butthole, published by Bash Katib. Am I the butthole for refusing to let my mother-in-law hold my baby because she reeked of cigarettes? Ugh, something that nauseates me. Anyway, I'm currently hiding in the nursery because my husband is on the phone with his mother, and I'm honestly shaking. I have a 3-month-old daughter, and I've been very clear about my boundaries regarding smoking. My mother-in-law is a heavy smoker, and today she showed up without calling first. She smelled so strongly of cigarettes, it was making my eyes water from across the hall. She immediately tried to grab the baby out of the bouncer, and I blocked her. I told her point blank that she could not hold her while smelling like that, and that it's a health risk for the baby's lungs. She absolutely lost it. She started screaming that I'm a controlling brat and that she raised her own kids just fine in a house full of smoke. I told her times have changed, and until she showers and changes her clothes, she is not touching my child. She left crying, and now my husband's entire family is texting me saying I'm being cruel and elitist for breaking a grandmother's heart over a smell. My husband agrees with the health part, but says I should have been more diplomatic to avoid this huge family blowup. I feel like I'm being gaslit by everyone into thinking I'm the villain for just wanting my baby to breathe clean air. Am I the butthole? No. You should have your husband and your mother-in-law look up third-hand smoke, which is something that everyone in the comments is talking about as well. So, third-hand smoke, for those of you who don't know, it's different than secondhand smoke, something that you can look up as a scientific study. Secondhand smoke is when you're around a smoker, they breathe out the smoke, you breathe it in, and that has its various health complications and things like that, very much pushed on us in childhood. Third-hand smoke is when you're around a smoker, they are not smoking, but it is on their skin, clothes, hair, and you're around them to the point where you can smell it and you inhale all of it. It's particularly dangerous for babies, especially 3-month-olds. Now, if the mother-in-law was there visiting you at the hospital when the baby was born, any good nurse or doctor would have explained that to her. So, no, not the butthole. I do not like that your husband isn't on your side, thinks you should have been more diplomatic. I'm not exactly sure how your baby's health could have been more diplomatic, but whatever. He needs to understand that umbilical cord is cut, my dude. Like, your daughter and your wife are your priorities, especially your daughter's health. He needs to be much more on your side. So, not the butthole. You and your husband need to have a conversation about him defending you and his daughter, and a scenario that could help with your mother-in-law's. Maybe she could keep a change of clothes at your house, and if she wants to hold the baby, she could shower and change into those clothes in order to touch the baby. I don't know, just something to help in the future once you guys figure this out. If you figure it out, I don't know if you will. Not the butthole. Next victim. Am I the butthole? By Hungry Math 5845. Am I the butthole for telling my friend's fiance off when he tried to force my daughter to tidy? Alrighty then. I, female 27, have a friend, Jen, female 33, who is engaged to Brad, male 26. My friend Jen and I both have 3-year-old daughters, and I also had another baby, in the fall. Brad is not the biological father to Jen's daughter. Strange to point that out, but alright. My child and I went for a visit in the afternoon. The two girls played and had a great time while my friend and I chatted and visited, while I also have a newborn baby. Visit is coming close to an end, and Brad shows up at Jen's apartment. They don't live together and won't until married. We say hi, he plays with the girls for a bit, and then I give my daughter a warning that we are leaving soon. Jen and Brad begin to encourage the girls to start cleaning up their mess of toys. I want it noted that this wasn't an insane, crazy mess. It was toys on the floor that were played with. If you have toddlers, you know they make a mess and don't always clean up after themselves. Yeah, but they're 3. You're their mother. You should teach them that. Anywho. So, Jen turns on the TV to a cleanup song video on YouTube to encourage the girls to clean. Brad told her to turn it off because they will get distracted. I gave my daughter some time to try and clean herself, but she's 3, and I think it's a little silly to expect 3-year-olds to just start cleaning. So I go and hold my daughter's hand and really prompt her to tidy up while holding my infant. I also tried to tidy some things up, but my daughter just wanted to play. I gave her about 2 or 3 warnings, and the consequence of not tidying would be to put our shoes on and go home. She proceeded to play, so I began to enact the consequence. Brad begins calling the girls to come and clean in another room he is in. My daughter tries to go to help because he's telling her to. I explain gently that Mama said it's time to go. I need you to listen to Mama. Brad doesn't know I told you it's time to go home. Brad comes into the room I am in, and while I'm on the floor helping my toddler get dressed to go, he comes in and tells me that they have a rule that the girls need to tidy after they play. He said that their house has rules, and cleaning up is one, and the mess needs to be tidied before we go. This is where I snap. I told him that I told my child it was time to go, and I will not tolerate him telling me what I need to tell my child to do. He says if you cannot follow the rules, then you will not be welcome back. I was floored. I didn't handle the situation well after this statement was made, I'll admit. I was so shocked and taken aback. Jen told him not to jump to extremes in the moment, and then proceeded to defend him, as she should, as his fiancé. I explained to them that I gave my child warnings, and she wasn't tidying, so I decided the consequence was to go home. Is this the best consequence? I don't know, but it's my consequence. And I don't believe that telling another person how to parent their child is appropriate unless the child is in danger. It turned into a whole thing, and in the heat of frustration, I told them they need to post a list of rules for their company so that everyone is on the same page regarding rules and expectations when visiting. Okay, this is exploding out of proportion. Because how was I supposed to know they had this rule that forced their company to clean? It is good manners to tidy your mess when visiting, but it shouldn't be an enforced rule by the man of the house. I'll also add that I have always cleaned and tidied in the past when visiting. I was 37 weeks pregnant and cleaning food off the floor after dinner because that's the kind of person I am. You mean you made a mess and cleaned it? Okay. I told them they should have communicated this rule to me. I told him that next time he needs to take a deep breath, sit on the problem, i.e., the company didn't tidy, talk with Jen, and if they still feel they have a problem, then to communicate it then. But to lash out in the moment was not fostering a welcoming environment. Brad backpedaled and started to say, "You're welcome anytime. We want to have you here, but we have rules." But the damage was done in my eyes. I feel quite hurt. So am I the butthole? Everyone sucks. Everyone sucks. I think everyone sucks in this situation. I think OP sucks a little bit more. Just a wee bit. So just a little bit. Brad's comment. We'll start with Brad. Brad's comment of "You will not be welcome black," blah 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 blah. That definitely blew it out of proportion. He never should have said that. He sucks for that comment. He's a butthole for that. Absolutely. But him expecting, if a child made a mess, to clean up their mess before they left is not it's not disproportionate. It's to be expected. That's something that you should be teaching your child. He shouldn't be parenting your child, but at the same time, you never should have put him in the position where he should have had to. Now, for OP, You shouldn't leave the mess behind. You are also teaching your child that if she lollygags and drags her feet and doesn't do what she's told, her consequence, quote unquote, and I say that very loosely, quote unquote, consequence will just be, okay, you don't have to do it. We're just going to go home anyway. That's not parenting. If you're not going to parent, don't have children. At the risk of sounding like a baby boomer or a Karen, this is why we have entitled children. If you don't parent, they will grow up to be entitled buttholes. You need to parent them from a young age, teaching the child at 3 years old, who is not too young, by the way, to clean up after themselves is a good thing. I'm not saying don't help them, because obviously they are still a toddler. They need help. They still need help and structure and things like that, but you have to teach them every single time. It has to be enforced every single time. Hey, we're going to leave in 30 minutes. Let's start picking up our mess and do it every single time. It has to be enforced. If you will not parent, don't be one. So, my opinion, everyone sucks. So, that's just my 2 cents. And that appears to be the consensus of Reddit as well. I am seeing a few yes the butthole, but I'm not seeing any not the butthole. Anywho, thank you everyone for tuning in, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.